Three of the worst mistakes by Koeman so far at Barcelona. Welcome to Crazy Barca Talks. Crazy Talks, Crazy Cool. It appears Ronald Koeman could do nothing wrong at Barcelona. That's what we learned from social media so far. His worshippers were working overtime to establish that. They are still working overtime for a different name. We'll come to that later. If you read all the comments in social media, you will be forgiven in thinking that Ronald Koeman is the second coming of Jesus Christ. At least the second coming of Renus Michels. Nothing of them is true. That's been the verbal diarrhea we have been subject to following Barcelona's first two victories. Now with Sevilla making a mockery of all that, some people are slowly waking up to the reality. The reality that not everything has changed to good at Barcelona. Barcelona had a great start so far. Without any doubt, Barcelona had a spectacular start to the season. If we put in context to the toughness of the schedule, what we saw was pretty impressive. This was a team which was destroyed 8-2 by Barcelona in their last competitive match. The 4-0 victory over Villarreal and 3-0 victory over Celta indeed gave us hope. That was the kind of performance we need to see after a humiliation of last season. But it wasn't like the fans projected, especially the Koeman, Coutinho and De Jong fanboys projected in Twitter. They went bonkers. We did well, and especially with such a tough start of season. We did really well to secure 6 points from 6 points in the first two matches. The Villarreal result was due to the opposition's mistakes mostly, but the Celta result was mighty impressive. Barcelona's plan struggles against Sevilla. And then came Sevilla, visiting Camp Nou, the place where they lost 4-0 last season, where Messi and Suarez made them pay dearly. And in the end, even though the draw appeared to be a fair result, one have to admit that Sevilla was by far the better team on the pitch. They should have walked away with the game, but to come to Camp Nou and at one point dominate possession 60-40 itself is a huge thing. And that to a team like Sevilla. And it makes much more important when you consider the fact that Barcelona is being managed by a manager who thinks possession is key. In the end of the game, maybe we have wrestled back the possession stats a bit, but the effective possession was well within Sevilla. In the grand scheme of things, the result wasn't a bad one. In any season, you will take a draw against Sevilla as a very, very good result. And that too a good Sevilla team which almost won the UEFA Super Cup against Bayern Munich. But the result also showcased that despite all the verbal jugglery by the fans, especially the Koeman fanboys in Twitter and other social media, the team's problems remains there still, especially against teams which could make life difficult for Barcelona. Nothing has changed in that front. In his Barcelona managerial career so far, Koeman has already made 3 big mistakes which could doom the entire career. Let's look at each one of them. Number 1, the 4-2-3-1 formation. The more I see this formation, I am constantly reminded of what Cruyff said about this formation. We saw what he warned about the 4-2-3-1 formation happening against Sevilla. He pointed out that out of possession, this formation has a huge problem. This could result in the team splitting into 2 sections which will be disconnected. And we saw this happen. And we additionally saw that in this formation, when the going gets tough, the lack of a creative midfielder suddenly becomes a big issue. Double pivot helps defensive side a bit, but not entirely, but a bit. But then there is no creative outlet coming out anywhere. That's the reason why we saw Messi dropping deep, trying to organize something from the midfield. It isn't like 4-2-3-1 is a bad formation. Many teams have made it working, but then their playing style is different from what Barcelona has. And to make matters worse, Koeman took the 4-2-3-1 formation, gave it an almighty tweak, which made it extremely bad. We will come to that now. That is point number 2. 2. Messi as false 9. Without doubt, the false 9 was one of the greatest innovation in footballing field in recent times. This has been the greatest revolutionary idea we have seen with our naked eyes. Even though it existed way before, one have to admit that Guardiola and Messi was the one who made it, gave it the iconic start. It seems for many Barcelona fans, the false 9 remains kind of a cult figure. something many consider as the solution to all evil. That's why people constantly profess about why Messi needs to be played in a false nine role, even though the formation which the team plays cannot afford it. There is no position for it, but still they want Messi to play in the false nine role. In simple terms, false nine, as the name suggests, needs an attacking midfielder or a player of that profile lying in the traditional centre forward role. The whole idea is that the player drops deep into the midfield, presenting him as the additional player in the midfield, allowing the white players to move into the space vacated by the player. Now, that movement is the one which is creating the trouble for the opposition defense, and especially the constant switching because of that. Because they lose the focal point all the time because this guy is being dragged into the midfield. Usually we use a false nine in a 4-3-3 role or a 3-4-3 role. It's very simple. It's because there is no number 10 there. So the false nine comes and occupies and plays as number 10 there. But does it fit into KOEMAN'S 4-2-3-1 formation? The 4-2-3-1 formation already have a number 10 and there is a number 9. Now you are saying that the number 9 will play as false 9. Then what is this number 10 supposed to do? Which is Coutinho in the recent games. So I have heard somebody suggesting that Coutinho should play the false 10 and Messi should play the false 9. What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, then you ask everyone to play whatever false what they feel like. We can have a false 7, false 6, false 3, false 2, false 1, whatever you want. What happens when Messi plays as false 9, drops into midfield, is he starts occupying the roles or the area where Coutinho is supposed to occupy. In the first two matches where we could dominate the left wing, we didn't see much of a problem there. But against Sevilla, we started immediately seeing the problem. And as Cruyff warned, suddenly the team, instead of creating space for the white players to occupy or move in, the false 9, when it dropped, the team became 4-2-4 formation. And once out of position, suddenly the two pivot has so much area to cover, and that's why they never reached any of those white players Sevilla was moving in. After the first two victories, many fans were out in full force mentioning how Barcelona is now less dependent on Messi. They see it as a great thing. One has to wonder what exactly is the mission here. To make Barca less dependent on Messi or to make Barcelona a very good fighting unit. If it is the latter, then it makes sense for a coach to use Messi in the best possible way. But if it isn't the former, one need to wonder why even Messi is selected in the starting 11. He should be starting from the bench. Against Sevilla, Messi had to drop deeper to even try to make things work. Now, that was what happening for the last few seasons, and so it wasn't unfamiliar to us. We saw what was going wrong with the team last few seasons suddenly popping up again. But then that is now being used by Coutinho's and KOEMAN'S fanboys against him. They believe that he is playing below par in this role. They never realized that he was put in this role to play below par so that others contribute more. That's not his natural role, at least in this formation. There is no need for a false 9 in this formation if you are going to play 4-2-3. The third point is the criminal misuse of Griezmann. If you are agitated with what Koeman is doing with Messi, then you will go crazy thinking what he is doing with Griezmann. Everyone complains about how inefficient the Frenchman has been for Barcelona so far. What do they expect? It baffles me. He's put in a winger role where he does not suit, and we have better players like Trinco or Dembele to be used there. And then he asked to do things which is not his best strengths. It appears Messi and Griezmann are being sacrificed to accommodate Coutinho. Maybe because he was a European champion of last season. People tend to forget that in that great Bayern team, he was just a super substitute. He was not even a regular player in there. In 4-2-3-1 formation, Griezmann's ideal role is there as a striker, but he is never used there. Messi is put in there and then asked to play false 9, and Griezmann is shipped to the right for some reason. If you're not playing him as a striker, then don't use him. Use a player who is much more suited for wing play on that side. It appears that Koeman has been instructed to do everything to integrate Coutinho into Barcelona, even at the expense of the entire team. So we have the greatest player ever being played out of position, one of the biggest signing ever, is being played on the right, where he has no skill set to occupy that role. It's not like a 4-3-3 playing on the right of a 4-3-3. It is like playing on the right of a 4-2-3-1. He is like a winger role. He does not have any skill set for that. It's like you have bought a Ferrari and you want to drive it as a Fiat. Then if you want to drive it as a Fiat, why you want to buy a Ferrari at the first place? Koeman may prove that he is the alpha in the team, but come February, when the big fixtures start lining up, he may pay the big price. He may win the small battles, but he will lose the ultimate war. And that's the fear for every Barcelona fan. Thank you. That's all for this video. Do let me know about your views and comments about the video. If you have any suggestions, please do let me know. If you like the video, don't forget to like. Please do subscribe to the channel for more content and discussion. Thank you.